In today's video, we're going to visit one of Mexico's most notorious graveyards, and this is located in Culiacán, which is the capital city of Sinaloa. And in this video, we're going to tell you why this particular graveyard is so famous. We're going to tell you who is buried there, and we're going to tell you what our visit was like to this particular graveyard.
This is Jardines del Humaya, and it was established in 1969. And it covers about 30 acres, and where is it? It's in the south?
It's in the southeast corner of Culiacán, in some kind of industrial area, right on the outskirts of town. Who is buried here? You know, that's something that makes this particular graveyard in Culiacán so noteworthy. That would be people that are associated with the illegal narcotics trade, drug lords, if you want to call them that. They're the ones that have commissioned these elaborate mausoleums. Some of them have died already and they're buried here, and some of them have commissioned mausoleums to be built while they're still alive for either themselves, friends, or family.
But they're the ones that have made it notorious. This is actually a graveyard that people from all walks of life are actually buried in. So it's not just particular to drug lords.
These noteworthy mausoleums, what were they like?
Incredibly ostentatious, very elaborate, luxurious. It's just like this continuation and extension of what their lifestyle was like when they were alive. So it's just an extension of that into death, really. These people have an awful lot of money. Well, you can't take it with you. As we say back home, you can't put a ball hitch on a hearse. So this is their way of creating fabulous places where they can be interred, but where their loved ones can come to visit after they're gone, in comfort.
They are treated to cable TV, Wi-Fi, air conditioning.
Air conditioning, which is really, really important in Culiacán, because it's a bit toasty there. Kitchenettes, there are bathrooms.
Security cameras, and even bulletproof glass. And there were also offerings. We saw in one particular place a bottle of Moet and Chandon champagne, and sitting right next to that was a bag of Cheetos.
There are fresh flower arrangements, Tecate Light, cigarettes, just anything that the person would have enjoyed in life are given as offerings. So what was it like to visit there beyond what we actually saw, beyond the graves and the mausoleums and the structures? What was it like?
First of all, we read a lot of bad reviews on Google about this. We read that there were some armed robberies that were taking place within the graveyard. We also read that because of the armed robberies that there were police kind of waiting outside of the gates to offer you safe passage through for protection for a couple hundred pesos. We didn't find that at all. We didn't find, obviously, we didn't get held up there. And we didn't see any police or anybody outside or inside the gates offering a tour or offering any kind of protection for money. We didn't come across that. So
yeah, the reviews weren't terribly encouraging. Most of the reviews were along the lines of, basically, if you go in with camera equipment, probably going to get held up, and they're going to hold your equipment for ransom. Basically, they're going to try to extort some money out of you, or you lose your equipment. We didn't experience that, but that's just our experience. Just to point out, we walked around there for about 2 hours, just the two of us by ourselves. Again, no tour, no protection, no police protection. We just rambled around by ourselves for 2 hours, and nobody batted an eyelid at us.
We didn't enter in a vehicle. We entered on foot. So not only did we feel safe, but it was almost like nobody even cared that we were there.
So what was my favorite part of the graveyard? I think it was the graveyard cat. At least the one that we met. There might have been more than one, but there was this adorable little kitty just strolling around, desperately looking for attention. And we complied.
It's also important to note that we aren't the first people to make a video on Jardines del Humaya, and we're not going to be the last.
So there's no denying it. Certain graveyards hold quite the fascination with a lot of people. I'm going to give you 3 examples now of 3 functioning graveyards. People are still being buried there on a daily basis that have mass tourist draws. So the first is La Recoleta in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The next one is Père-Lachaise in Paris. And then thirdly is Glasnevin Cemetery in Dublin. Funerary architecture is quite elaborate in all three of them. And then they're also really famous for the noteworthy that are buried there. There are actually organised tours in all three of these functioning graveyards.
And just to elaborate on that, we also want to mention Dias de los Muertos. That's a particular time of year, getting back to Mexico here, where a lot of foreign tourists are interested in how people in Mexico remember and honor loved ones who have died.
This is just one more graveyard within the world that's famous for those that are interred there. They are notoriously infamous, as opposed to some of the other graveyards, but it still harks back to that's what the draw is, that's what the attraction is for people. It's a tourist draw.